Welcome to the Tesla Economist. Please hit the thumbs up and remember to subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon. Teslas are not like typical cars, at least how you would usually label them in their asset class. The asset class of a vehicle is generally a high-priced asset that costs a lot of money to maintain and depreciates incredibly fast. In personal finance, this is generally how you regard a vehicle, as a total liability. As investors, it's probably important to know the actual industry we've invested in, as I don't think everyone understands Tesla's industry, judging by how people react to vehicle price rises as an example. We say Tesla is in the auto industry or EV industry, but just because it has 4 wheels and a steering wheel, is it really fair to be placed under such a label? Should we start to reevaluate what this product really is, why it is so popular, how they can get away with more price rises, and why they may become even more expensive in the future? People are saying Teslas are already too expensive, but it is cheaper than a house. They say they can't afford a Tesla, yet they could afford a house that cost significantly more. Many people could find enough money to buy a Tesla, even if it involved selling their house. These people can literally afford a Tesla, but still complain and say they are too expensive and unaffordable. It's not that they are unaffordable, it's that you prioritized owning a house over a Tesla, which I have nothing against. And that's just it. We do prioritize a house over a newer, more expensive car, and perhaps even a Tesla, but perhaps we are willing to make more priorities in order to own a Tesla over a conventional car, because a Tesla is more. From there, we may make the decision as to what is important to us in a car and what is less important. Is it sticker price, running cost, reliability, safety, luxury? There's always some sort of sacrifice. I'm not at all suggesting that you sell your house and buy a Tesla. My point is that many people have made the priority in life of owning a house over a new car. But now we've discovered that a Tesla is much more than a car, then I think consumers need a reshuffle of priorities in life. It may be a smaller house though, or smaller garden. It may even mean you're willing to Uber in the evenings to cover your Tesla loan payments. It just depends on how much people are willing to prioritize. It's not the first time something like this has happened in an industry either. Before smartphones, how much would you have spent on a phone? $200, $500 maybe? Now we spend up to $1,500 on a phone. Why? Because it has the internet on it, and an amazing camera, and tons of great apps. It does so much more, we can justify spending 3 times as much. We made priorities in life that were worth it to us. Perhaps it meant we didn't go on a holiday, but instead we got a phone that can do so much that it improves our living standards more than a holiday would have. Just like a Tesla, it improves your living standards over what an ICE car offers. No more poisonous gas to breathe in as a bonus, but no more having to go to gas stations too, and potentially not even any more driving. Consumers will eventually understand all this additional benefit a Tesla offers over a traditional auto. Oh, eventually? No, they're starting to already, hence why the prices continue to rise, as people keep understanding the true value of owning a Tesla, a car that drives you around for close to no cost, doesn't depreciate, and will last for about as long as you. Tesla may end up altering how we even own a car. We might buy cars now and think of owning it for 10 or 20 years, or even longer, rather than 5 years or so until the latest features are out, continually chasing and trying to keep up with the latest and greatest, costing an absolute fortune and upgrading your car for something that is available for free in Tesla's latest over-the-air update. If buying habits change for Teslas when compared to regular autos, then Tesla may even adapt their pricing models accordingly, perhaps offering 10 years financing options, as Tesla know that after 10 years, a Tesla is likely worth a bit, and potentially a lot if in the robotaxi network, whereas previously, legacy autos were selling time bombs. They had about 5 years or so until they're worth about 1/3 of what they were new. Ford or GM need to have that car pretty much paid off by then, as they don't want the car to be worth less than the loan. And as ICE cars depreciate so quickly, this is something they need to be careful about. However, as Teslas don't depreciate, or don't depreciate anywhere near as fast, Tesla can work out some new type of financing. Teslas really should be in a new asset class. They're far too conditioned with the internal combustion automobile, and even some of the EVs that legacy autos make. I think Tesla should be in its own class together. I'm not talking about EVs in general even. Tesla is the only company that can make a Tesla. They have a monopoly on Tesla cars. All the patents are open and free. Anyone can copy and try and make a Tesla, but it would appear that that's close to impossible. But so few people can afford a Tesla now that they've raised the prices. I mean, this is ridiculous. Now expecting to spend thousands more on a car that will just lose value. Except now, we're trying to change our perception or a paradigm shift as to the value of a Tesla when compared to a conventional auto. I think it's important to understand the product we have here. Wouldn't you rather spend $10,000 more on a Tesla over a Ford if you knew in 5 years' time that that Tesla was going to be worth $20,000 more, i.e. the Ford cost $10,000 more to own, yet had a $10,000 lower sticker price? Once consumers work this out, they can justify spending more on a Tesla, as they will actually end up losing a lot less in the long run. It works exactly like an investment. Invest $10,000 more into a Tesla than a Ford, and in 5 years later, you should have doubled your investment by having $20,000 more expensive asset than the alternative. I'm just being generous here, of course. The Tesla would likely be far more valuable than any Ford in 5 years' time. For one, you have no gas or servicing cost, but also depreciation. Teslas don't depreciate, they really don't. And before anyone says all cars are appreciating now or were, it's not just Teslas. Well, prior to COVID, if you bought a used Tesla Model 3 with a bit of mileage and a year or two old, you were still paying close to the new price. And Teslas are a lot more popular today than back then. A Tesla or electric car has an immediate intrinsic value. It will instantly cost you 1/5 or so the amount in energy to travel anywhere. I mean, just think about even a 10 or 20-year-old standard Model 3 that has 500,000 miles on the clock and only gets 200 miles of range. Then if there was the equivalent ICE car, any ICE car, it would still need fuel and cost about 5 times more to run than this old Tesla. Tesla always has this low-cost transport intrinsic value. That will always beat an ICE car. Of course, this Tesla may very well have FSD as well, which means you can be driven around automatically. Again, a huge intrinsic value. Sure, it may sound expensive at $15,000 or so, but have you ever looked into the costs of hiring a chauffeur in the US? I assure you, FSD is exceptional value for money. In addition to that, not to mention all the latest software updates and features, the value of a car that stays up to date with the latest is huge. Think of all the antiquated things you see in an old car, like mini-disc players. There'll be no obsolete features in the Tesla that you had to pay for, well, potentially steering wheel, pedals and mirrors. And then when it comes to the end of life for a Tesla, there is still the intrinsic value of the battery itself. The fact that it contains all these valuable minerals that can be recycled. It's almost as if you're just renting the battery, really. So all those people around deriving pleasure telling you Tesla's stock price is going to drop to $500 or something, do you really think they understand this company? No one understands this company, but we certainly have a better idea than most. But my point is, they don't even understand the actual product. So how can they expect to understand the company or predict the future valuation? A Tesla is as different from an ICE car as a smartphone was a flip phone. It's a lot more than your typical car, and as a result, it can be justified to spend that extra amount on it, especially when it continually brings so much joy and the novelty doesn't seem to wear off, as it's real engineering with real technology that adds real value. Thanks for listening. Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon.